flow like water, so I'm going mainstream. Yeah. Going mainstream. Damn.
What's up, Eagles Nation, and welcome to the very first episode of Eagles Connect, channel that talks all Eagles all the time. I'm your host, George, and if you want to know more about me and learn more about the channel, please watch my introduction video. Also, if you like what you hear, please subscribe below and leave as many comments as possible. I'm looking for feedback as well as topics of what you guys want me to address. So let's go and let's get the first episode rolling. In today's episode, we're going to talk about what happened to the Philadelphia Eagles in 2020. Now, I'm going to put blame on two people, Howie Roseman and Doug Peterson. Now, it all actually started with that iconic moment in Eagles history when we won the Super Bowl. You see, it was Howie Roseman and Doug Peterson's first Super Bowl win, and they did not know how to handle the events after winning a Super Bowl. Let's start with Howie Roseman. For Howie, it was actually 17 years in the making. So he was probably like, oh my God, I finally cracked the code. I finally know the formula of what I need to have to win the Super Bowl. And he got super fixated on that Super Bowl roster as well as that formula. So what was that formula? Well, if you look at the Super Bowl team, you can see that they were a bunch of old, veteran, experienced players. When I say old, statistics show that at the age of 26 is typically when an NFL player hits their peak. Then they hit their prime, and then they start to regress. So, if you look at that Super Bowl starting lineup in the offensive side, you can see that veteran presence. You also can see in the defensive side. So let's take a look. Offensive starters: LeGarrette Blount, his age was 31. Alshon Jeffrey, 27. Torrey Smith, 28. Zach Ertz, 27. Jason Kelce, 30. Brandon Brooks, 28. Lane Johnson, 27. Let's look at the defensive starters. Vinny Curry, 29. Fletcher Cox, 27. Brandon Graham, 29. Michael Kendricks, 27. Nigel Bradham, 28. Ronnie McCloud, 27. Malcolm Jenkins, 30. So he has a bunch of guys in either their prime or they're a little past their prime. So what he's saying is, I'm going to put my money towards experience versus young youth players, and let's try to develop them. So we saw this in 2018 and all the free agent moves. His first move was he locked Alshon Jeffrey to a 4-year, $52 million contract. Why would you lock a wide receiver at his prime at the age of 27 to 4 more years for $52 million? Not only that, I understand, I love Alshon Jeffrey, and I understand he was a major part of that Super Bowl race, but I don't think Alshon Jeffrey is a top 10 wide receiver. I honestly don't think he's a top 20 wide receiver. So why would you lock someone for $52 million at his prime? But then we start seeing these veteran moves coming in 2018. Let's take a look. In the 2018 free agency, he re-signs Bradham. He trades for Michael Bennett, his age 33. He signs Haloti Ngata, age 34. Then he goes and he trades Torrey Smith and he replaces him with Mike Wallace, age 32. And what he's saying is, I still need that speed. So I still need that wide receiver, but I don't care about age. Well, Mike Wallace was a flop, but he still was stuck. In 2018, he was still stuck on that formula. And at the end of the trade deadline, he goes and he trades for Golden Tate, age 30. Why would you do that? Well, do you remember in 2017, what did he do? At the end of the trade deadline, he goes and he trades for Jay Ajayi. So he probably felt super pressured to do another trade to help build a team. And I think it worked in 2017, but it definitely didn't work in 2018. That was a flop. And then we ended up wasting a draft pick and we ended up not re-signing him. So that was a complete flop. So let's look at the 2019 free agency. What does he do? He re-signs Rodney McLeod. He re-signs Brandon Graham. He re-signs Jason Kelce. He re-signs Jason Peters. Like, I get it. Like, I'm huge fans of Jason Kelce and Jason Peters. I think they're Hall of Fame players, but they are past their prime. Why are you locking us into players that are under prom and are in the past their prime? And like, I get it. Brandon Graham, you got the Pro Bowl in 2020, and congratulations, Brandon Graham. I think it was long overdue. I think you deserved it many years before, and congratulations. But like, we are locking ourselves into like these older players, and they're not producing at a high level. Like, we don't have an all-star caliber player like Christian McCaffrey or Dalvin Cook or any Alvin Kamara. Like, we're not investing in these high caliber players. We're investing in players that are veteran players, and they're not producing how much we're paying them. Let's continue to look at 2019. Then they go and they signed Malcolm Jackson, 29. And then they trade for Deshaun Jackson at the age of 33. I'm a huge Deshaun Jackson fan. When he left and Chip Kelly let him go, I freaking cried. But you don't sign a 33-year-old injured prone player to a 2-year contract. And I get it. Deshaun Jackson, again, he was trying to find that speed and he couldn't. So we continue and we look at 2019. He re-signs Ronald Darby, Super Bowl roster. He re-signs Vinny Curry. He re-signs Timmy Jurgen, Super Bowl roster. And then he goes and he signs Anderson Dago, age 32, and he signs Zach Brown, age 30, and then he signs Orlando Scandrick at the age of 32. And I don't want to even talk about Orlando Scandrick. That was a complete bust that should have never happened. So now Howie Roseman, he was kind of locked into these veteran guys, and they're all getting injured. And then we're saying, oh well, why does the Eagles have an injury problem? Like, what's in the water in Philadelphia? It's no secret. You have a bunch of veteran guys. They're going to get injured. So Alshon Jeffrey starts getting injured. Deshaun Jackson plays only 2 games, and we're all of a sudden labeled as an injured-prone team. And it's because we had all these veterans. So that Super Bowl roster is still clouding Howie's mind. And when he goes and he drafts J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Now, if you know that J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, his pro comparison was, guess who? Alshon Jeffrey. And I think that's why he drafted him. So that Super Bowl roster is still messing up with his mind. Like, why would you draft J.J. Arcega-Whiteside when you had DK Metcalf on the board? Like, I understand we can say like DK Metcalf and Terry McLaurin. We can say like, oh, now we know. Like, but like, it's not that these guys surprised us and we're looking at like, oh wow, they're actually superstars. These guys were actually graded higher than J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Like, Eagles Nation, if you had to pick, 90% of Eagles Nation would have picked DK Metcalf over J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. So why isn't our GM hitting on these draft picks? And then we go and we look at the draft picks at 2020. The first pick, he goes and he drafts Jalen Reagor. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you draft Justin Jefferson? Again, Eagles Nation, if they had to pick, they would have picked Justin Jefferson over Jalen Reagor. Like, 90% of the time, Like, you would have picked them. So why go and pick it? And they're saying, oh, well, Justin Jefferson doesn't fit our system. Well, I saw the 2019 wide receiver group. You had nobody. I don't know what system you're talking about. Why? Because he was a slot receiver. Last time I checked, you need a slot receiver, you need a possession receiver, you need a speed receiver, you need a 50-50 guy, you need all kinds of receivers. So, like, I don't understand that comment. At that point, you pick the highest rated receiver that's available. And then he goes in the second round and he picks Jalen Hurts. And it's like, what? Like, you made an investment to Carson Wentz, and then you go and you waste a second round pick with Jalen Hurts, and they're going like, oh, we're a QB factor, like we're a company and we're producing QBs and we're selling them. It's like, dude, how about be a team's factory? How about that one? How about build a team instead of you building QBs? What are you going to do? Sell them? Sell them for what? Second round pick? How about you use your second round pick? You should have got the safety, Chin. Why not pick him? It's like Eagles Nation again. If they had to pick, they would have picked Chin. 90% of them would have been picked Chin. Why are we hitting on these draft picks and our GM is not? So I think he honestly got super infatuated with that Super Bowl roster, and it kind of clouded his judgment and made him do mistakes. So I want you guys to kind of comment below and let me know what you guys think of Howie Roseman. Now let's get into Doug Peterson. With Doug Peterson, it was a different story. Yes, he won. It was his first Super Bowl, but he wasn't stuck on the Super Bowl formula or roster. If anything, he became more arrogant. And you could see it in his moves. Like, I was there at the parade and I heard him and he was like, oh, this is going to be the new norm, and we're going to be in February, playing in February every year, and blah, 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 blah. They had a statue built on it. His ego was super high, and he became arrogant. So, after they won the Super Bowl, they lost their offensive coordinator, Frank Wright, to the Indianapolis Colts, and now he's the head coach of the Colts. So what Doug Peterson does, and he grabs Mike Rowe, the wide receiver coach, and makes him offensive coordinator. Well, it was 1 year that didn't work out for him. So then what he goes and he does, he's like, I don't need an offensive coordinator. I'm a Super Bowl winning coach. I don't need an offensive coordinator. I'll do this myself. Like, why? Like, you need an offensive coordinator. Andy Reid has an offensive coordinator. Like, I get it that you're an offensive mind coach, but like, you need help. And like, let's not forget, 5 years ago, you weren't even calling plays. So like, I can't imagine that in 5 years you became this huge whiz. And it showed because you struggled. So let's look at Doug Peterson and some of the things that he did, right? And one thing he did was, in 2020, we were the most team that went for it on fourth down. Like, I got the Philly special. I got it. Best play in Eagles history. Sure. But like, why do you continue going on fourth down? The Eagles went on fourth down 35 times. Out of that, they converted 15 times. They gave them a percentage of 42.9%, sixth worst in the league. Like, Doug Peterson, you're not helping anyone by continuing going on fourth downs. Like, stop with the stupid 2-point conversions. Excuse me. It's like you're going for 2 points, you're trying to go, and you're leaving points on the field. Go with the stupid field goal. Get 3 points. Get the extra point. Like, what kind of message are you showing the team? And then you had a struggling QB. And like, I've watched the NFL for 25 years now. I've never seen a player regress like Carson Wentz. And it's like, sometimes you're like, is it Carson Wentz or is it Doug Peterson? Is it the coach or is it the player? Like, I don't know what happened. But like, regardless whose fault is it, you have a struggling QB. So then what do? If you have a struggling QB, you help him out. You make it easier on him. If you look at the Eagles' losses, let's look, right? Washington, they lost. They passed 71% of the time, ran 29% of the time, right? Lost to the Rams. 62% of the time passing, 38%. Like, lost to Seattle Seahawks, 72%, 77% passing, 23% rushing. Like, why are you not rushing the ball? And like, stop with the, oh, we have a running back by committee. Like, you have a legit running back now. You have an elite running back, Miles Sanders. Why are you not using him? Like, when we won games, the very few 4 games that we won, we had a balanced offense. Let's look. San Francisco, 50% passing, 50% rushing. New York Giants, that was kind of lopsided. 62% passing, 38% rushing. But Dallas, right? 52% passing, 48% rushing. And then when we won against the Saints, we actually passed for 45% of the time, and we rushed 55% of the time. So like, why are you not making it easier on your struggling QB? And then on top of that, like, Carson Wentz, one of his best attributes is if you have a struggling O-line, you move them to the side. You don't keep them in the pocket. So I think, like, those things were, like, extremely arrogant coming from Doug Peterson. But, like, the most arrogant move I've seen in NFL history was against the Redskins. Now, I get it. I didn't care if they won or lost. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm a fan. I watched you lose 10 times. Like, I'd rather take the pick. Like, I get it. But for you to throw the game and put Nate Sudfeld in the fourth quarter, like, what kind of message are you sending to your team? It's like one of the most arrogant moves I ever seen in NFL history. It's like, if you're going to do that, then cancel practice for the week. Give your players a week off. It was New Year's week. Let them enjoy New Year's with their family. Don't put your players into, like, have them go through practice and then throw the game. And then, I mean, you look at, like, Adam Gates and the Jets, and why aren't these guys throwing the game and trying to get a better pick? I mean, like, the Jets could have got first round pick. Why are they not throwing the game? Because these guys are fighting for their jobs, right? So, like, how arrogant are you that you think, like, oh, your job is safe and you could just throw the game like that? And then you have players that still are trying to prove themselves and, like, trying to, like, end at a high note and trying to make a name for themselves, and you robbed them from that. And apparently there's reports about players being held back because they were going to say something to Doug Peterson and whatnot. Totally lost the locker room, and it's just sheer arrogance. And then what happened? You lost your job. So, like, I think those two main reasons are why Eagles are where they are now, and I want to hear your thoughts on Howie Roseman and Doug Peterson. Thank you, Eagles Nation. I hope you enjoyed the very first episode of Eagles Connect. Please comment below and let me know your thoughts, as well as subscribe so you can be notified of any future video uploads. You can also follow me on Eagles_Connect on Instagram, as well as Twitter. Please stay tuned for my new video where I'm going to break down new Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni. Till then, Eagles Nation, this is George signing out.